Hello lovely souls, hope you're having a good day. I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to do a tapping sequence to help you with releasing any emotions that come up with regards to setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is incredibly important, and particularly in the times we are in just now, with everything being so, with us being so squeezed and squashed, and our emotions being triggered and tested, and our levels of endurance being tested to run the course. Boundaries are really important. It is an absolute self-care necessity, but it's quite often something that people find really difficult. And it's only really in the last couple of months or so that I've really stepped more into a place of setting boundaries with people. So it is incredibly important for our own energy levels and for keeping ourselves well, for our well-being. So I'm going to do a tapping sequence. If you've not done tapping before, it is based on our pressure points. So it's based on our energy system. So there are energy channels that run through the body that transfer the energy from one place to another. It's obviously linked with our chakra system. The chakra system is our energetic system. And there are meridians, which are the energetic pathways that carry the energy around the body. So the pressure points are where these energy channels come close to the surface. So when we tap them, this is totally not a scientific description, but this is exactly how I imagine that it works, because it makes sense to me. When you're tapping the pressure points, you're sending a vibration into the energetic system, along with the words that you say, which carry that vibration to the core of what you're trying to get to, gives it a wee bit of a shake to shake it loose so that it can come to the surface to be healed. That is totally not scientific. That is just my description of it. That's how I imagine it works. That's how it feels to me. It feels to me like you're tapping, you're sending a vibration into the physical body. By using the words that you're using to tap into to set the intention to focus on what you're wanting to release, you are shaking that dense vibration within you that you're wanting to release. You're giving it a wee shake to shake it loose, therefore it can come to the surface and be released. So that's just how I feel it works. So there is science behind tapping. If you want to look that up, feel free. It's called Emotional Freedom Technique. There is science behind it. It's been researched, and it is extremely powerful for releasing lower vibrational energy, such as fears, limiting beliefs, and emotions. So it helps us do our healing. It's very good at assisting us with healing. So basically, you would just follow me. I have done a tapping sequence before on I Am Not Good Enough, so you could look at that first, because I go through and I tell you where the tapping points are. So if you want to go and have a look at that, then please do. But you would just need to follow me. Actually, I might do a separate video at some point on what the tapping points are. That might be useful. So, but on the I Am Not Good Enough tapping sequence, there is I explain where the tapping points are before I go into the tapping. So you would just follow me, and I'm going to be saying statements, and except the very beginning statement, which I tap on here, that will probably be, you'll probably just need to copy that as it is, except for the emotion that I might say. So if I say an emotion, if that emotion isn't correct for you, then swap it for the emotion that is. So for example, this is a boundary tapping sequence. So I will be saying something like, I have had great difficulty in the past setting boundaries, And the thought of setting boundaries brings up fear in me. So if I was to say fear or guilt, if that doesn't resonate, just swap it with whatever emotion is right for you. Or if you don't know what emotion it is, just swap it for I feel an uncomfortable emotion, or I feel a negative emotion, whatever you feel is the right vocabulary for you, what resonates with you. But you will always, on the tapping point, say, you will always copy me to say, at the end of that sentence, I will say something like, and even though that's the case, I deeply love and completely accept myself. That is really important, that last bit. And with every other tapping point, I will say a sentence, or I will say a couple of words. And you would just, if it doesn't resonate, swap it with something else. Don't say something that doesn't resonate, just swap it with something else. And if you can't think of anything to say, just say the emotion, or feel an uncomfortable emotion, or feel fear, or feel anxiety, or feel guilt, those emotions, those types of emotions. Just say, if I say a full sentence and doesn't resonate, just say feel whatever emotion it is. Feel fear, or feel anxiety, or feel guilt. So that's what you need to do to release some of that emotion. And I think we'll just get started. And we'll check in at the end. You may not, but you may feel emotional. If you feel any emotion coming to the surface, please let it flow. It's probably best that you do this when you're on your own, if you feel uncomfortable with other people around. So if emotion comes to the surface, please let it flow. Don't resist it. If you resist it, we're just pushing it back down again. We're not allowing it to come to the surface. And know that if it feels a lot of emotion comes to the surface, know that it won't last. And just keep tapping. Just keep going round and tapping and tapping and tapping and tapping on each round until you stop feeling upset or feeling angry or whatever the emotion is. You don't even have to be saying anything necessarily. If I have already stopped and you're still upset, just keep going around the points. Just keep going around the points and say the emotion. Feel guilt, feel guilt, feel guilt, feel guilt. So just keep saying the emotion and keep doing that until all the emotion is out. So if when you stop crying or you stop feeling angry, then you would stop. I think we're ready to get started. Okay, so we start on this point here, and you just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, and I have had great difficulty in the past with setting boundaries. Setting boundaries brings up a lot of fear. And even though that's the case, I deeply love and completely accept myself. Setting boundaries has been very difficult for me. It brings up a lot of uncomfortable emotion. Which prevents me from doing it. And even though that's the case, I deeply love and completely accept myself. Setting boundaries has been very difficult for me. It brings up a lot of intense emotion, which prevents me from doing it. And even though that's the case, I deeply love and completely accept myself. From a young age, I learnt not to speak up. From a young age, I felt other people's emotions very intensely. And this felt very uncomfortable for me. So the thought of setting a boundary to serve my needs felt too intensely uncomfortable. Over time, I got stuck in a pattern of not serving myself, of not putting my needs first. And over time, this made the thought of setting boundaries more and more uncomfortable. I learnt that my needs weren't a priority. I learnt not to put myself first. Because I just wanted everyone else to feel good. The intense emotion I felt by not being seen, by not being appreciated, meant that I didn't want anyone else to feel that way. So I put others first, at the cost of myself. I shied away from confrontation, which is what I thought boundary setting would create. The lack of deep, unconditional love for myself meant that I didn't value myself enough to put myself first. It felt selfish. Something that I was taught I should never be. But the truth is, it's not selfish. I know now that what I learnt when I was young is not the truth. It was just my mind making sense of the experiences I received. I know now that I can be seen, be heard, be appreciated by loving myself more. By loving myself more, it gives me more courage to speak my truth. It gives me more courage to put myself first. Because that is important. I can help more people in a more effective way when I put myself first. So I release this emotion of fear or guilt around setting boundaries, because this emotion doesn't resonate with me anymore. It doesn't serve me. It is not for my highest good. I release it. I let it flow. I let it flow out of my energetic system. And instead, I draw in more unconditional self-love. To erase the feelings from the past. To erase the feelings of not being seen, not being heard. To allow me to step into a more authentic version of myself, where I express my needs confidently and with love. So that I can nurture myself which in turn will support others. I love myself unconditionally. If you're still feeling any emotion, I want you to continue tapping. Continue tapping round the tapping points. But if you're not, then you can stop and take a deep breath. And if you are still feeling emotion, continue on the tapping points until that emotion kind of has flowed through you and gone. And then what you would do is say a few statements on tapping to finish that are really empowering. Like, this emotion does not serve me anymore. I choose to let it go. I know that my behaviours around boundary setting have been caused by fear. And that is not who I am anymore. I can make powerful changes in my life to serve everyone's highest good by setting boundaries. So, and saying something like, I love myself unconditionally. So you would do tapping on those really positive, empowering statements, and then you can finish, and then you would take a deep breath. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If it did bring up emotion, make sure you drink lots of water and really look after yourself. You can feel tired after releasing emotion. Obviously we all feel tired after we release emotion, but when you do healing like this and get right into the energetics of it in your body, it can be really tiring. So make sure you look after yourself. Obviously you might not be able to have a day in bed or anything like that, but yeah, just be really kind. Do make sure you get a little bit of time, if you can, just to rest, get an early night. And that's it. Hope that was useful for you, and I will see you again in another video. Okay, lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.